yeah, that's pretty cool.
You didn't make the same mistake as me then, because I was at that game and I saw him, and I don't watch many movies. I'm not very good at movies, and I said, "Hey, Russell," thinking he was Russell Crowe.
No way! No, you didn't do that. Did you actually do that? Oh my god! Oh my god!
Hello and welcome to RugbyPass Offload with me, Mark Edwards, Max Laheath and Ryan Wilson. And very shortly, we will be joined by an incredibly special guest in World Cup winning Springbok captain Siya Kolisi. First, mentioning South Africa, forgetting about the rugby briefly. Ryan, how's your week been since we last spoke?
Oh, boys, the missus isn't going to be happy with me because I came to South Africa and didn't even play in the first game. So can you imagine how pissed off she will be if I don't play the next one, which is in a few days' time. But thankfully, I've recovered from the dead leg. But it's been bloody lovely out here. We're staying in Stellenbosch. I've been down at Clifton today. I'm down at the waterfront in Camps Bay, down at the waterfront of Cape Town now. It's been absolutely delightful. Absolutely delightful. Sun-kissed skin, as you can see, Maxie
I know,
boy.
golden hours around you. It looks glorious. Favorite spot so far? Stellenbosch or the waterfront?
Honestly, I could not believe how beautiful Stellenbosch was. It's
very nice,
unbelievable. But today was topped it. We went down to Clifton, even though it's winter here. Clifton down to the beaches. Oh, just incredible. I'm pretty sure we saw a shark as well. Me and Stafford McDowell are going into the sea, and Domingo Miotti, the Argentinian, is like running towards the wave, and I'm like, "What is that?" And Staff's like, "You just see that?" And as the wave picked up, you could see this thing with a fin. It was either a seal or a shark, but someone was shouting shark from the top. But as he's doing it, Domingo he ran towards it. He's diving in, and he saw it, and he came running back out. But, oh man, honestly, what a beautiful place. I absolutely love South Africa. I absolutely love it. And,
dreamy, innit?
What's the vibe been like in the camp, Ryan? Obviously, there was that bonus point defeat to the Stormers. What went wrong?
Yeah, the boys, they started well, Like we talked it up. To be fair, we got here. We only had literally 2 days to get over the flight and get straight into it. But they started well. Half time, 13-7 down. But listen, these Stormers boys, they've stepped it up another level at the moment, and they're just absolutely on a roll. I think they've won the last 8 or something like that. I think I might be talking bullshit, but we gave their back three a little bit of loose ball, and that's all they needed. But again, sitting on the sidelines, pretty tough. I couldn't even run water because my leg was that bad. But getting on a flight straight after a dead leg is not a good idea, is it, Max? So I'm saying that made it worse.
DVT. Did you wear the big stockings of doom?
I just had my skins on, mate. I just had my skins on. But it did, when I came in at half time after the Newcastle game, I was like, boys, this is business class, without a doubt, because there was only 8 between the boys. So they were like, Wilt, there's no way. But genuinely, it was bad. So I had to keep it up in business class for a while. I was going to poke my nose in the first, but extra few air miles needed for that.
Do you reckon you're a little bit in holiday mode? Are the lads in holiday mode a bit, being in South Africa?
Nah, genuinely they weren't. Like it was strict. The first couple of days we got to Stellenbosch, and we're in a place called SAS, which is like an academy. So it's not even a hotel; it's like an academy for sport. So there's a few different rugby teams in there, and it's like geared towards training. There was no like down the beach or anything like that. So it was a shame, but enjoyed a bit of time together after on Friday night. Had a few beers just to get over it, and now we're up to altitude on Thursday, which he's sucking through straws like you wouldn't believe. When you haven't run for 2 weeks, oh man, it's bad. It's bad at altitude. So we're trying not to mention it.
Max, how about you? Lots of changes to that Bristol starting 15, but you know the boys got the job done, holding on for that 1 point victory against your West Country rivals. Good vibes all around.
Yeah, very good. It was a story of the unusual suspects, wasn't it? We had Toby Frikatoa tearing up, the Milky Bar kid on the edge. Yeah, man, it was a really good game. It was full of sort of perils, peaks and troughs, going our way first and then back to Gloucester. It was a real West Country derby, but I think everyone you sort of associate Gloucester with turned up and was very, very potent. Obviously, our mate Rees-Sam at Manchester United, wallpaper and all, just doing bits, man. Oh my God, he's faster than the greasiest of lightning. Wow. And then, of course, Geordie Reid, just being his dreadhead self, just doing, everywhere and anywhere.
We are delighted to be joined by Springbok World Cup winning captain Siya Kolisi to celebrate his career to date. And to kick things off, Siya, how have you found moving to playing in the URC versus Super Rugby?
No, it's been well. Thank you for having me. It's awesome to see all of you. No, it's been really good. It's completely different to what we used to. But I really like it. I haven't been fortunate enough yet to go to Europe and go play for the Sharks because we're obviously playing internationals. So I'm looking forward. We have Leinster, the last game of the season. Sorry, we're playing Ulster. It is in Belfast. Yeah, sorry.
Ulster,
Yeah, that'll be a lot easier than Leinster. So you should be all right.
No, I don't think so. Not there.
See your old mate Dwayne Vermeulen over there, right?
Yeah. They hard. They've been doing well the past couple of games, and especially this competition when you're at home. You gotta win those games, and teams pitch up for those games because away games are tough, to be quite honest, especially when you have to go across the continent.
Yeah, that's exactly what we thought on Friday night, just there.
Yeah, the Stormers, they're on fire at the moment, aren't they?
Oh, man, they're so dangerous. Like, the one thing we said is, whatever we do, don't kick it to their back three. Next minute, their back three had the ball. And
as soon as you kick the ball, you just see the crowd. Everybody's like expecting something, but it's really good to see. I think, obviously I was there. We struggled quite a lot when I was there, just to see how but they found something, and they've got a couple of new players, and it's just worked. It's clicking and it's working for them. It's beautiful to see. We're all competing, but at the end of the day, we all want to do well, and I think we must celebrate each other a bit more, And I think the more, if you play well, it pushes me to be better, and I'm gonna have to step it up to try and compete against you. I think we all just compete too much, and we think you must wish the other team to lose, which is not the way to go, I think.
So that stadium, the Cape Town Stadium, is incredible. The noise in there. There was only I think 1,000 people, but it was such a cool stadium to play in. Did you get to play there when you were at the Stormers?
No.
It was Newlands, wasn't it?
I played at Newlands, yeah. I played at Newlands. That was loud.
One to Newlands. So they got rid of Newlands, did they?
I think the stadium wasn't updated enough, the security protocol. So they had to revamp it, but it will cost the same amount as building a new stadium. Yeah, but that was next level. Man, running out there, it was always full, and the vibe is just next level. And everybody's up close. You can feel it, you can hear. There were a couple of guys behind us who used to give it to us or give it to the opposition.
Yeah. The Shark Tank's good though as well because it's like super steep. Shark's like very cool. It's like quite like the whole of the stadium's like right round you on top of you. I always thought that was very cool.
It's really good. And this weekend we had the Shark Fest, so we had a festival. So because we're trying to get people in, and Durban has faced a lot of. It's been tough in Durban. The floods, people lost their homes, and obviously there was the other things happening earlier in the year, so it faced a lot. So the Sharks Foundation is donating. It's like collecting money and getting donations and helping the people build their homes with food and everything. And we thought, it's been so sad the past couple of months, and horrible for some people, losing family members, losing their houses and everything. So they made a festival to say whoever can, just come to the game. And so at the stadium, it started at 1:00. It's music, it's dancing. It's obviously our game later on. It's a live concert. and the kids as well, jumping castles and everything, and then player interactions. So we had 21,000 people. It was next level. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe you should do that now from now on for all your home games.
Yeah, I think it costs a lot of money to do the festival. So, but I think we should. To be honest, like when I went to America and watched a basketball game and the ice hockey game, I think that's where for all the teams for our competition, that's what we should do. Have so much entertainment at halftime, you know, and have people come perform. Because even if people are not rugby players, if you have someone who's a singer or rapper or whatever they are, somebody would like them. They won't come there for the rugby, but they'll still come and get to see them, you know. And that is, I think, is pretty cool. And for the kids, you know, especially me being a parent, if you tell me you've got a section for the kids and I can watch the game, my kids will play there. And then when I tell me next week if there's a game, I want to come again. I think those are the kind of things that we need to get to, because people are not just coming to watch rugby by itself, because the game can be a horrible game, but the experience is what you take with you.
We've spoken about it on the pod a few times before, and particularly actually with the URC and Roc Nation getting involved, and I think they see it in that sort of way, particularly the entertainment side, as you say, from that if you can replicate in one of those NBA matches, then suddenly people you're going to attract not just rugby lovers anyway.
100%, yeah. And also you'll get like the artists, like what they do, before they like the people can hear the playlist, you know, and it's normally whatever rapper, and the rapper would like say, comment and like, oh, playing my song and all of that. Then he goes to the game, you know. Then he's bringing more people to the game. Sometimes they're not performing; they just come into the game, and those are the things I think we need to make use of. The people we have in our country who are whatever, even if they're not sport lovers, just get them to come and get them to enjoy rugby.
So when's Jay-Z going to come to Glasgow? When?
Well, he's going to have to come to Cape Town first. I mean,
no
Durban,
way, Glasgow first, man.
He's going to come to Durban.
Talking of rappers, we sat next to a guy called Jack Parrow on the plane. He's an Afrikaans rapper.
Yeah. He's a good friend of mine.
Funny bloke. What a legend. He was sat on our plane. He was an absolute legend of a bloke. He's the one that wears the big long...
Yeah, the biggest, yeah. He's like very famous around here. He raps in Afrikaans. I don't know how to rap in Afrikaans, but he's got a vibe. And then he's so different in person. He's so chill.
Yeah, he leaned over to me and said, bro, I know you guys are rugby players and I've got a very bad abscess on my mouth. Have you got any really strong painkillers? I was like, hey,
that sounds like you.
I was like, I've got sleeping pills and I've got muscle relaxants. So I was like, take your pick.
That sounds like him.
No, see, have you been enjoying then your sort of stint playing across in Europe and visiting different places so far?
I haven't. Yeah, well, I've only been to Europe through the internationals. So I haven't played a game in the URC in the internationals. Yeah, but I really do enjoy going to Europe. I really love going to Scotland. I love the buildings in Scotland, and I think it's my wife's favorite country, or her grandfather's favorite country. Her grandfather, so she wants to go visit there. So it's our goal to go there together. And I love going to England too. Obviously, we don't go with the URC. Is when I go end of year tour for the games. I'm a Liverpool fan, so I love to go there and watch some of the games.
Have you met any of the gang, any of the players? I seem to recall. Actually, you've met Jurgen Klopp, haven't you?
Yeah, I met him in Cape Town. It was really cool. It was, you know, I'm a fan. Like I play rugby, and you know, a couple of people recognize me every now and then. But like when I see people I watch like soccer or whatever sport, I freak out. Like sometimes when people see me somewhere, I freak out the same. Like Jurgen walked in, I was sitting with some of my friends and my wife. We were sitting at the table and we were talking, and he walked in, like my jaw dropped. And I just walked, I looked at him, went to the bathroom. So I tell my friend, he plays cricket. He plays he was the Proteas captain. He knows nothing about football. He only knows the David Beckham. That's his favorite soccer player.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do you see who that was? He's like, no. I'm like, it's Jurgen Klopp. He's like, who's you? I'm like, the Liverpool coach. I'm like, okay, just leave it. I'll get up. He was in the bathroom. I stand outside the bathroom. I'm waiting there for the restaurant. And I don't know, I'm like, how do I ask him? So I know one of his agents. His name is Mike. He used to work at Adidas. So I called him as he walks out. I'm like, Mike, yes, Jurgen, talk to him. Because I panicked, he came on. So he took the phone and he spoke in German. And then he's like, dude, you could have just asked me. I know who you are. We watched you just before the final because some of the English soccer players were watching England on the day. And then we said he came to sit with us on the table. We spoke for 40 minutes. He brought his whole table to us, invited me to Liverpool, booked my tickets. 2 weeks later, I was there and I went to go watch the game. And then they took me down. I met all the players, and I'm good friends with Jordan Henderson now. I've spoken to him since then. Then we went to go play in Italy against Benetton this year, and I booked my ticket so I could go because we're off the next week. So I went straight to watch was it the FA Cup? Whatever trophy it was, we just won at Wembley. So Jordan gave me tickets. I went there, sitting in the crowd, singing, going crazy. There's a couple of videos of me going crazy.
Oh, how good. That's class.
Yeah.
I think the most starstruck I got was meeting the Big Show in wrestling.
No, man. Where did you meet the Big Show?
So for London Irish, back when my first rugby came, we had to do this thing with Seamus because he's Irish, so we were doing this like commercial thing for it, like joining rugby up with the wrestling. And at the time, he was having this big rivalry with, this is like back in 2018, and he was in this big rivalry with the Big Show, and we were going to accompany him, like chaperone him into the ring. It was like me, Corbs. Oh, it was Tanguy Thakkenbaugh. So Lossie was there as well, bro.
Oh, Lossie.
Yeah, Lossie was there. Yeah, and then and we chaperoned him in. But then just before, you're like in the backstage, and you're like shaking hands with like Kofi Kingston, and then I met the Big Show, and I was like, he really is the Big Show. He is so massive.
Yeah.
Bro, you know, like when you shake a man's hand.
And it
like,
covers.
Yeah, bro. It was like this bit of his hand was like 3 of mine. So I could only shake the bottom of his hand like that. It was so ridiculous how big he was, man. Yeah, it was, and he was such a lovely guy.
That's how I feel every time I shake like Eben's hand or like some of my teammates, man. Like I wake up, I'm like, how are we the same age or how am I older than you? They're so big, bro. And
you know,
the worst is when I play against them. Oh, I trained against Eben, and I remember, I'll never forget, because Ches and Kobe was injured. We were all playing with the Stormers, and we had like full contact. And I don't like full contact in training. And Eben got the ball. We're so tight. We like besties. He gets the ball, but he looks at me, and I know that look. He looks at me, and I knew he was coming. He went on top of me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get him. Then he came the second time. All I could hear was Ches and Kobe laughing. I was so angry. I chased him because he wasn't training that day. I was angry. I chased him. And I'm like, bro, I sit there, I'm like, where do I tackle you? You know, obviously into training, it's so hard. The guys are so big.
Is Eben like a full gooer in contact then in training as well?
No, not always.
Just sometimes he's feeling spicy. Yeah.
He came in hot that day. And then after he wants to talk to me, but I'm like, no, I'm sad. Like, why would you do that to your friend? Like, you're my mate. Like, why would you choose me?
Betrayed me.
Yeah. Man,
that's sad.
I was so sad, man. I was emotional. It took a couple of days for me to get over it.
Would you ever think of at some point coming over and playing in Europe? If so, where would you like to kind of run around?
I've thought a lot about it, but yes, I don't know. I would miss South Africa too much. Number one, because I think with everything, I know we're a third world country. We have got so many struggles, but I still think it's the greatest country in the world. And like there's so much that I love here in South Africa. And yeah, in my family, I've got a young family settling down, and I've moved now from Cape Town to Durban. So yeah, but I in the past I was talking to a club. I think after 2015, I was talking to Toulouse. Then before Chesney went, or the similar time, but since then I don't know, and I'm not getting any younger now, so I'm not sure if I would go to Europe. If I ever leave, I think I'll go to Japan. I can't leave this hard rugby to another hard rugby. Like the physical wise, I'm not saying it's not easy. It's easy in Japan. I'm saying physically, my body is taking a lot.
Talking about your teammates in the Springbok camp, you got some incredible players, and then alongside you at the Chelsea Sharks and for the Springboks, none more so. Makazolo Mapimpi, a man who you know very well, who seems to score against everyone that he plays against. He scored at the weekend, and he scores against every country he plays against.
No, that guy is like one of the most inspirational human beings I've ever seen. You know, he comes from where he comes from. It's like I thought I struggled, or I thought like my story was tough. You know, it's always like that until you meet someone else. You know, and he got his break late. You know, he had to work really hard for it, and he went through. I think he's the only player who anyone who's been born after 1991 who made it through without going to a model school, and he made it through the hard way, and the things that he does, and I think we haven't even seen his best yet. You know, he's really good. He's an amazing human being. You know, and I'm so inspired because I learned English when I was 13 for the first time. He's learning English as he's going through. You know, and we do the calls. He couldn't speak English at all. You know, and now, you know, he is giving input in the team environment. It's really amazing because he's had to work for everything, basically. Yeah.
It's funny because when we had Brian Habana on here, he described a very similar thing where he's like, you don't think you've had things tough, and then he said, then you hear of what, you know, Sia's done and what Makazolo have done, and he used those as examples. And it's funny, you would say the same thing about the toughness of Mapimpi's upbringing, but you've also had a very, very difficult time in your childhood.
We like the way we live and the way we grew up is it's a normal thing in our country. Like there's too many stories like mine, you know, and that's why I did my book, because we draw strength from all the struggles and the battles that we face, you know. And I think one thing that I love the most is Coach Rassi. Like, he recognized that and he knew who we are, you know, not just as rugby players, but our stories, what it took for us to get here, you know. And, you know, you can see in Chasing the Sun where he speaks about, like, this is why I chose you. I chose you because of that struggle, because I know when you get to that deep place or when you get to that dark place where it's battle, I know you're not gonna back out, because you're not gonna lose because you're gonna back out. You're gonna lose maybe because it just doesn't go your way, but you stay in the fight. And a lot of our struggles have taught us a lot. You know, I'm not saying it's good to struggle because it teaches you and shapes you the way you are, but some of the challenges make us or give us like endurance, and it give us like we can take stuff and keep on moving.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think, like, just on that, sorry, like, I think I can't speak for the Southern Hemisphere as much, but I think in the Northern Hemisphere, there's a lot of privileged children that get through in rugby. I don't think there's enough underprivileged. I mean, I'd always pick the man that struggled more when he was younger because he's fighting for it more. One guy I always think of is a guy, Fotu Loka Tui. He's a Tongan guy. And he came over. He was one of 10 children in Tonga. And he was the youngest. His dad left him when his mother was pregnant with him. So he was the youngest of 10 kids. And he came over to Glasgow. And honestly, this guy, the first one in, the last one there, because he had so much to work for. He sent all his money back to Tonga. And people like that, I would always choose over some. Listen, I'm not saying that, you know, guys, it's not their fault because they were so privileged, but I'd always pick the guy that has come through a lot more, because out on the pitch, he always had your back. I absolutely loved him. And we spoke about him before. He's the man that got me my 50th cap for Scotland by injuring one of the boys for me. So I love him. I honestly think in the Northern Hemisphere, again, like I can't speak for some, but I think we need to tap into that more because there are so many kids out there that don't get a chance through like some of the schools because they're not private schools and stuff. I think that's massive.
Yeah, I think also like for me now, like being here, I had the opportunity, I got the opportunity and I took it with both hands, you know, and I probably wasn't the best. There are guys who are far better than me, but I got the opportunity and I used the opportunity, and my whole mindset now and what drives me other than providing for my family and you know, is I want to change the narrative for the next generation because I don't want them to struggle. I don't want them to be celebrated because they struggle, you know, they struggle. We need to create a level playing field, you know. Those stories need to change, you know. It can't be like my story or Makazolo's story. Those stories must change because of us. Already now, mindset-wise, the kids in the township can already dream of becoming where I am because they can see it, you know, and that already is a win. But now we have to bring resources because I got taken out of my well, I got an opportunity to go to a Model C school and stayed in hostel, you know, so I was out of my of the environment that I was in. Instead of that, and they took me to resources. Instead of that, we want to take resources to the communities, let the kids be able to grow in their own community because now you're taking the best of the area. Who must the other kids look up to? You taking the heroes away. We need to bring the resources to people, and that's the way to go. That's how communities will change. You know, we need to uplift communities because we can't keep on making the other communities stronger. Because the more our communities are stronger, the stronger like your province will be. The stronger your provinces are, the stronger your country will be. We need to just keep on. You know, we can't bring other people down. Must just work like that and together. Yeah. And like for me and you guys too, you might not see the same. You might not have that in your country, but you can help in other countries. You know what I mean? If you don't have that, at the end of the day, we're all humans, and we should all be working to make sure other humans are doing well too. We're all part of a huge family because all the social issues that we face, because people are struggling, because the world is not fair, and we all have a part to play.
Very, very well said. And so when you were growing up, sort of what was your average before you went and received the scholarship? What was your average day like?
When I was young, so I would wake up in the morning and get ready for school. Goes to school. I would walk to school. I didn't have shoes for school. I would walk barefoot, or I would wear. My aunt would get some of her friends who had, like females who had feet as big as mine, and I would use women's shoes to go to school. They would be black, and I would walk to school, and I would get my first meal at school. So the meal is like, it's a loaf of bread. They cut it, and you get like a slice, a little bit this thick. They would have peanut butter and jam on the bread, and for me, like if you have lunch, you wouldn't eat that. It's normally made for the kids that don't get food at home, and they would use powder milk. It's powder, and they just throw some water in it in a big bucket, and you get a cup. And I would ask all the kids that had lunch from home. I would ask them for their food, for their bread, and then I would have a loaf. I would take it, and I would take like a jug of the milk, and I would go to the back of the school. When I was embarrassed at the beginning. The other kids would make fun of me, and they would know like you're struggling. So I would go to the back of the school. I would eat that whole loaf of bread, and that would carry me throughout the day. Because after that, I would do my homework at school. Then I would go to training at the school for my school, rugby-wise. Then I would walk to my club, and I would go train for my club. Then I would sit there until maybe 7 o'clock at night, and I would watch the first team and all of them train. Then I would go home, and then if there's food, I would eat. Sometimes there's no food, and I would have sugar water, and then go to bed, and then start over the cycle over and over again. But some days we had food. Like I would go ask my neighbors. Like my grand, when I was young, she would ask me to ask my neighbors for a cup of mealie meal or for a cup of rice, and we would eat, or she would walk. She would walk and go visit friends. When you go visit in our culture and communities, they'll normally make you like a cup of tea or coffee, and they'll give you biscuits or bread. You know that when you go visit someone, you know, it's not like tea and scones, but yeah, you would get that, and she would take that and put it in a packet and put it in a pocket, and she would keep it for me and bring it home. And you know, I always think about my times when I was hungry. To be honest, the times that I was hungry, I never saw my grand eat, and I never saw my grand complain at all, because she's always keeping me, trying to take my mindset away from me being hungry. I don't recall her, because I was talking about it the other day. I've never seen her eat. You know, if we don't have food as a whole family, she would always bring something for me when she come from somewhere. So she probably ate, but like she never complained. She always tried to change my mindset. If I'm too hungry, she'll give me water or sugar water. Then I would drink that, and that would trick my body, and I would feel like I was fine. Wake up the next morning, because then I'll be excited because I know I'm going to school and I'm getting a new meal.
Did you at that time, did you recognize your adversity then, or was it just a day as normal? Was it just
No, it was normal, because I wasn't the only one. I mean, you know what was my favorite toy? My favorite toy as a child, it was a brick, and that was my car. That other kids had, other kids didn't. So I had a brick, and it was quite a big one. And I used to I would wash it, I would park it, I would drive it, and I would make car noises, because that is all I had. And that's where I learned, you know, even going to training, I'll feel the thorns in it, and we had to train bare feet, you know, and there's a little bit of grass, but I went to training every single day. I didn't miss training. And that's when I learned, you know, you gotta use what you have before you start complaining. You may use everything you have around you as much as you can. And I'm telling you, if you do that, something will come. You know, somebody will provide an opportunity for whatever else you need for the next step. So that was my childhood, and that was not just for me. There were people who were followers, people who I grew up with, who ended up being homeless. You know, and so my story is not. It's not like it's a normal thing in South Africa, but to you it might be like, oh wow, but people, you know, when I talk to people, they're like, we know that's what happens in our community too.
TIA.
Sia, you were, there's a story that I read, you were attacked when you were growing up. Can you tell us what happened when you were stabbed in the neck and then nearly got your ear ripped off, I think it was?
Yeah, so I didn't get attacked. I got into fights when I was young. So I used to drink a lot. It's normal. Like for us, it was when I started drinking when I was 8 or 9. I used to drink because those things were available, you know, in the community, and we smoked all sorts of things when we were young, because it's there, and we would do it, and people don't come look for you and all that kind of stuff, you know. And then when I got older, then I went to Grey, and then that was then it shocked my system. First, the language barrier. Second, then there were rules like there's bedtime, there's time to brush your teeth, you know. And I had my own bed. I was shocked with that. I had my own bed. I had socks. Those were the things that for the first time I'm having to sleep, because I used to sleep on the floor at my house. I used to take the cushions from the couch and put them on the floor, and then put a sheet on top of them. Then I would sleep on it. You can imagine in the middle of the night they would split, then I would end up being on the floor. And in our house, it's like you're sleeping and you hear rats on the roof, and they walk on top of you sometimes while you're sleeping on the floor. And it's crazy. I could hear the rats walking up and down the roof and running up. But that's normal. Again, that's normal. If ask any, like most people from the areas that I come from, they will tell you they had the same things when they grew up. And so then when I was young, when I got the bursary, so I felt like an outsider because of the language barrier and stuff. But then obviously you start adapting to it, because I knew this better work, or I've got nothing else, not just for me, but for my family and hopefully for my community. And then when I went home, because now I'm speaking another language, now I felt like I had to prove myself that I'm not soft, to the guys, When we're out and when I got stabbed here, I think I was in grade 11. I'm not sure. I think I was in grade 11. I was arguing with the guy and he hit me. I left him and then he stabbed him, but I didn't see. I didn't realize because my blood was warm and I had a few drinks. And then when I was walking away, I realized he did what he did. Then I lost it. I went back and then, it didn't end well. It didn't end well for him as well. But the next day, we were tight. We were friends. We shared a beer together. We're like, forget about it. Forget about it. And then this one, I was in matric and we were writing my exams. I went back to the township and I had an argument with the guy as well. And then he took out a knife and he tried to stab me, but he missed. So his knife fell. So then I chased him. Then he ran. As I was chasing him, somebody kicked me from the back and I fell in front of a wall. And this wall, it was the corner of the wall. So I hit my ear like that. So it kind of ripped down. And then I chased him and then the police saw me chasing him and they stopped me. Then they saw my ear and then they drove me to hospital. And then I got stitched. Then I went to school. I was writing my final. Imagine now I'm going to the suburb school with my head with bandage all over and writing my final. And everybody's just looking at me like, what's going on? Then from then they said I'm not allowed to go back home until I finish my final exam. But there were like 2 months left until school closed.
You should have just said you were ready for training with the headband.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I wanted to say
ready
that.
For training.
I wanted to say that, but I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna act smart now.
Yeah, true. And the whole time were you playing rugby? Obviously, that was what you were doing whilst we were there.
Yeah, that's what I was at the school for rugby. They got me. There were 3 of us.
So did you feel like you were trying to earn a bit of respect through your rugby as well, like to fit in with the people to show, look, this is is my gift. I'm good at rugby.
Yeah,
and that helped.
Good. I wasn't good at all. I wasn't good.
You weren't good.
No. I had a bit of skill. They actually didn't want me. They wanted 2 of my other. There were 3 of us. The other guys were good. The one was a prop. The other one was a wing. He was very fast and it was center wing. So they were good. And I also made the provincial side, but the B team. So they didn't want me. They wanted to. But my teacher said, you can only have those 2 if you take this one. I only found this out now recently. So he's like, you can't have him if you can't have them if you don't take him. So they took me. I had skill, but remember, I was like malnutrition because I had a small head, big ears, my hands were this big, and my feet were big. So I was very skinny and small. And then, so there was not much I could do other than the offloads every now and then. And then I grew, because then I started eating. I remember my first day being there, and we had dinner. I think we had fish and chips. I was on my 3rd plate, and the other kids were still eating their 1st plate. And they stopped me. They're like, hey, when I was going for the fourth time, they're like, slow down. This is yours. It's not running away. It's gonna be here. Breathe and eat the food. Because where I was from, we used to eat as quickly as we can because you're sharing, and you're fighting over something, Sometimes you eat out of a big bowl with my cousins and you want to eat the biggest bite because you don't know when this is going to be there again. And then when I got there, they were like, no, you got to slow down. This is yours. Take your time.
Unbelievable. We got just a few things to finish off. I think there was a story 10 years ago where 10 years before, rather, you won the World Cup. There was a security team that held a gun to your head. Is that true? What happened then?
Yeah, I was 19. This is when I went to the Stormers. I stayed at my agent's friend's house. I had to leave. I left Gqeberha, which is Port Elizabeth, because of that fight when I lost my ear. So I had to go straight to Cape Town. My agent came to fetch me. And then I went to Cape Town and I stayed there. And then I started training a bit. I stayed at his house. Then I stayed at his friend's house for a couple of days. One of my mates came to visit me, who I was gonna be in the institute where you were at SAS. So he came to visit me, and then I walked him back to the taxi rank where you can get a taxi. And I'm not talking about a cab. I'm talking about South African taxis, the big ones. Yeah. So I walked him there, and then I'm on my way back. I'm walking normal, and I start jogging, and then I walk, and then these guys came, motorbike, a bakkie or a van. They just, man, they came so quickly and so aggressively, and they stopped. They left the cars on, and just parked them around me. They surrounded me. They came out, and then I remember the short guy. He had curly hair, and he came, and then he put a gun against my head, and he's like he told me to shut up and just stand. Honestly, I thought that's it. I was crying. I was crying. I was like begging. I thought I was gonna die right there and then, you know. And it's daylight, bro. And the people, I was right there. The house, I could see the house that I stay in, and there was like some of the neighbors came out. I'm like, please help me. You know me. You've seen me at that house, you know. And I'm begging for my life, and they just like look at me, and then I hear them talking on the phone, and then I just went lower, sat down, and I just started crying. And then they called this lady. They're like, we've got a guy here, he's wearing this, and this is it him? They're like, she's like, no, it's not him. Then, are you sure? We've got him here. She's like, no, this is what he was wearing. And then he puts down the phone, they walk away. Nothing said, they drive away. I just sat down and I just burst into tears. Then I called my agent and told him. He was obviously upset. It was the neighborhood watch in that area.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It was but the way they did it was just not. I will never forget that moment. It was one of the days where I thought, like, that's it.
Jesus, man.
Oh, well, see, we're just sort of finishing off. We're going to change tack slightly after that. I mean, that's thank you for being so kind of candid and open and giving us these incredible stories. Quick word on signing to Jay-Z's Roc Nation. Can you tell us about maybe one of the best nights out with him, or if you've hung out?
No, I've met him. I've never met him. But it's been great. They've been really amazing in terms of like how they help you like build your image, you know, and the stuff that you do, and the kind of getting commercial deals done, and they see life, they see things differently, you know. And as you can see, the way they advertise you, the place, and they plan for long term as well for life after rugby, which is really good. I've really enjoyed it. And they make themselves accessible for us to be able to talk to them when we can, and every now and then, you know, when I want to bump off advice with them, which we do. It's really been cool. And also they open another market when you want to go with your family to America. They organize basketball games. You can go to these kind of places, which is quite cool.
You also, it's plugged you right in. I saw you got a tour around, what was it, Zurich with Roger Federer. You're hanging out with Jared Butler. There's been a bit of celebrity spice all over the place.
I was thinking the other day, like, never in my wildest dream did I ever think I would become to play for the Springboks, you know, and live the life that I'm living today. And to think like the places I've been to, places that I see in movies, you know, now I've been able to go to, and I'm able to take my kids and some of my friends. Like my best friend came to Yokohama with my dad and watched the World Cup final. You know, he was sitting in the stand like my dad as well. Like I want him to experience. I know my dad. If my dad grew up differently and he had a different life than he had, you know, he faced different struggles, you know, and he would have made this life. He would have given me the best life that he could. But now I'm able to do that for him, you know, and like I met Jared Butler at the airport. We flew the same flight back because I was actually coming to America from America, and he was in the flight, but I didn't want to like go and approach him. Like I'm just gonna leave it. Then we went through waiting for our bags, and then a couple of people came to ask me for photos. Then I left. And then I got a phone call later that day, and someone said, "Listen, bro, Jared Butler wants to have a meal with you." I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Yeah, sure. When? Tonight? I'm ready. Let's go." So I went the next day. We went, myself and my wife Rachel. We went and met him and his partner Morgan, and we said, "Man, it was crazy." He says he saw me at the airport, but he didn't want to, because he's from Scotland. Obviously, he knows rugby. So we sat. It was the best night. It was so chill, because you think, you don't know how this guy people are gonna be. He's so cool. He's down to earth. He wants to talk rubbish, and we had such a great night. And then we kept in contact. And when we were in Scotland, like, he sent me a video, and he's like, he's in Scotland. How's the family doing? I'm going to the game. Obviously, I have to support Scotland, but I'll be supporting you too. And then he came to the game, and it was his birthday that day. Then I told him to come just in the tunnel, and he came, gave me my jersey. And we talk every now and then. Obviously, he's busy, so that's pretty cool.
You didn't make the same mistake as me then, because I was at that game and I saw him, and I don't watch many movies. I'm not very good at movies, and I said, "Hey, Russell," thinking he was Russell Crowe.
No way. No, you didn't do that. Did you actually do that? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Your own countryman. Your
own countryman. Exactly.
I got it mixed up. I was like,
King Leonidas as well.
I got excited. I was like, "Whoa, look!"
What did he do? Did he laugh at you?
I bet he thought it was a joke.
I don't think so. No, I don't think, because he was with some guy called Darius, who was in like Pop Idol or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, Darius.
Yeah, the guy with the neck brace.
Yeah.
The guy with the neck brace. He was with him as well, and I was like,
"Oh,
Sia, thank you so much for being on the show. You've been an absolute pleasure, and we hope the rest of the season goes very well for you. It's been fabulous, and we'll hopefully catch up with you soon again."
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for
having me.
"Hey,
That was class, boss.
Sia,
Thank you so much.
Well, sadly, that is all the time we've got left for this week. A huge thank you to Ryan, looking far too relaxed in Cape Town, to Max, and to the legend that is Sia Kolisi. Do like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next week.